All these I don't knows, you've been just counting them up. Are they just for shows? If my next guest is right, don't buy all these so-called undecided votes when it comes to health care reform. A lot of them have indeed already made up their minds. They're just not telling us. Presidential historian Jane Hampton Cook joining me right now. So Jane, what's the theater for then?
Well, I think when there's a lot of pressure, both from the people and the players on the Hill, people tend to perform a little bit. They want to show both sides that they're, with them. And so I think that's why sometimes there's a little showboating or a little holding the cards close to the vest and not really revealing what they intend to do.
All right, so
it happens.
All right, so someone is going to Nancy Pelosi and saying, look, I know I'm officially undecided, but you can count on me and you don't have to pin me to a wall. That sort of deal, right?
That can happen, sure. And I don't think Speaker Pelosi would go to the House floor unless she truly thought she had the votes. So, it's hard to know what's going on exactly, but there's, sometimes there's a little bit of a shell game that goes on in Washington. And it's it's as old as we are, as our country. I mean, Thomas Jefferson did a little bit of that in 1807. We had an embargo act. It wasn't popular. The Senate passed it in 4 hours. It took the House 3 days. And that was so that the people wouldn't find out until it was a done deal. So some of this kind of thing happens.
That was the first time we ever deemed legislation through, I guess.
That's right.
But Jane, I'm curious, what is the upshot of that for the people who let them do it? In other words, if Nancy Pelosi lets them do it, Steny Hoyer or the president, and they go with a wink and a nod, and let's say the president was calling Dennis Kucinich. I heard you on Cavuto's show, and I know he watches, please. But anyway, I heard you on Cavuto's show, and you said that you were dead set against this. And then Dennis gets back and says, wink, wink, nod, nod, Mr. President, I'm with you, but is that how it goes?
Sometimes it does, and I think there's a lot of pressure with the media. We have cameras that follow people everywhere they go, and so I think that's why there's a little performance that goes on to try to play both sides, and it doesn't always work. I mean, when those shell games happen, a lot of times the politicians lose in the end. I mean, John Quincy Adams lost his Senate seat because of the embargo in 1807. So, it doesn't always work in people's favor. But, you look back at the Panama Canal Treaty back in the 70s, there was a lot of pressure. That treaty passed by one vote in the Senate.
All right. Okay, good stuff.
By one vote in the Senate. So,
Jane Hampton Cook, thank you very, very much.
Thanks for having me.
Dennis Kucinich